So I'm going to use this moment today to talk a little bit about our experience upgrading Ingenuity's flight software. And it's our first real big feature update of Ingenuity software on the surface of Mars. So for a little bit of background, Ingenuity was designed as a technology demonstration to demonstrate controlled flight on another planet over the course of 5 flights. We were super lucky. We managed to meet all of our mission objectives in our first flight, but our technology demonstration went so well that NASA decided to extend our mission as an operational demonstration to take a moment to understand what could we do with Ingenuity, both to provide science value for Perseverance, but also what more can we learn about aerial vehicles to inform future vehicle designs on Mars. Now, for the technology demonstration, our goal was to keep the software as simple as we possibly could to maximize the chances that we were going to succeed at our first flight. And some of the things that we did were constraining the environment that Ingenuity would fly in. So, for example, we picked our first airfield and ensured that it was free of rocks, so that if we ever had to land, there weren't any hazards to be concerned about, but also that it was very flat, so that we would have an easier job with Ingenuity's onboard navigation software of identifying features and navigating accurately. Now, the challenge that we ran into is as we migrated into an operational demonstration, turns out that the two things that planetary geologists love are big, interesting rocks and interesting terrain on Mars. And so we immediately had this tension between trying to do awesome things with Ingenuity and maximize our value, but also stay within the bounds that the software was initially designed for. Fortunately, we had this great opportunity to do a software upgrade on Ingenuity to start to tackle these challenges. And of course, once you open up the Pandora's box of software upgrades, there's always a million small features and small fixes you want to put in them. But we really focused this upgrade on 2 big changes. The first change that we added to Ingenuity software was hazard avoidance and mitigation when landing. Now, we didn't go down any fancy neural network, AI identification of rocks while we're flying or anything like that. We instead took a really simple approach, which is using the visual features that Ingenuity already has on board for navigation and tracking, and identifying portions of the image that have the smallest number of features. So you can see a little quick video here of the algorithm running. And what it's really doing is it's not so much of a hazard avoidance algorithm as it is a texture avoidance algorithm. So it tries to find the blandest spot of an image, and at the end of the flight, Ingenuity will now do a quick divert over to wherever that blandest part of the image is. And this isn't perfect, right? There's definitely features you wouldn't want to land on, like a steep sand dune. But this allows us to target far more hazardous airfields than we ever have in the past, provided that our operators check and make sure that we're still landing within areas that Ingenuity can find a safe landing site in. The other challenge we talked about is steep terrain. Ingenuity uses the JPL-developed Maven algorithm for doing state estimation using our black and white downward-facing camera that you just saw. And the way that it's currently designed, it expects that any movement of features was due to state changes and movement of Ingenuity, not necessarily any ripples in the ground, and just assumes the ground's perfectly flat. So to go beyond flat terrain, we started looking at bringing in knowledge of the actual terrain that Ingenuity was flying over, pulling in digital elevation maps of the area we were flying on Mars, and then feeding that in to bias our navigation software so that we could account for potential disturbances like hills and travel at more difficult terrain than we could in the past. So after we focused on these 2 upgrade points, we have time to focus on the actual software changes that we needed to make that happen. Before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about how Ingenuity software is designed to understand a little bit about how we approach this upgrade. Ingenuity actually has multiple processors on board. It has a navigation or a nav processor that's really a smartphone grade processor that we do all of our heavy hitting compute on. So all of our visual processing, all of our CNDH, all of that runs on board our nav processor, which also uses Linux. But the one challenge is, Linux is not a real-time operating system. And so we can't rely on it to do the real-time control that we need to keep Ingenuity stable in the air. And that's where our second set of processors, our flight computers, come in. We have a couple of them on board, one of which is always primary, and that does all of our real-time control of the vehicle, with some ability to fail over in flight if anything goes wrong. Flight software was built using the F-Prime open source framework, also developed at JPL. And it was a huge advantage to the team because it allowed us to pull in components from some of our previous missions and also share a lot of the development between the base station onboard Perseverance and then also this nav and flight computer onboard Ingenuity. It's also super helpful for us going into this campaign because Ingenuity has a huge variety of test beds, all of which have different hardware configurations from different stages of the development lifecycle. And so F-Prime allowed us to reuse these components and test the changes to our components in a variety of different environments rapidly. Tim Canham, our original flight software lead, did an incredible talk on Ingenuity's flight software at this same conference back in 2019. So if you're interested in learning more, there's a great video there, or you can always talk to me or some of the other JPL helicopter folks who are around at the conference. And if you're interested in learning more about F-Prime, feel free to reach out. JPL is running a series of workshops. So if you're ever interested in learning more and getting some tutorials on F-Prime, just reach out. So we talked a little bit about what makes up the flight software. And on the nav side, that flight software is then built into a single binary that we run in user space on board the nav processor. Whenever we boot up into Linux, we get into user space and it'll start up the flight software. In order to be able to upgrade the flight software, we have some startup scripts that select whichever binary we want to use on board for that particular boot. On the FC side, it's a standard embedded TI microcontroller. So it just has some non-volatile memory and a bootloader we can use to patch the software. And over the past couple years in the mission, we had done some prior upgrades to the software, but these were all super targeted small patches, which is very different from what we're doing here, where we're actually making major capability enhancements to the vehicle. And so that really needed to change the way that we approached our validation and upgrade process of the software. So as we developed the software, we went through our standard unit testing and static analysis steps to make sure that we caught any logical errors at the compilation, early in the development process. But after we finished that, we had to validate the software for the software upgrade. And that's where we had a lot of challenges. Whenever I think about testing Ingenuity, I always think about the test chamber videos and the test campaigns that Ingenuity did during the development phase, where we did a series of flights in an environmental chamber pumped down just to be like Mars, with a gravity offload to simulate Martian gravity to make sure that Ingenuity could actually fly in the Martian atmosphere. But it very quickly became apparent that doing that sort of regression test for a software update like this wasn't going to be possible. Those chamber test campaigns took dozens of people months to complete and probably millions of dollars. And so it was clearly not on the table for an upgrade like this. So the team had to take a step back and try and figure out how can we validate Ingenuity's flight software without actually flying a helicopter. Now the great news is we have a great set of test beds that we can use, but they all have their weaknesses and strengths. Our primary test bed was just all of our avionics just laid out flat, which is great for the flight software team, but it doesn't accurately simulate flying because all of our GNC sensors are stationary. The GNC team has a great flight simulation that can run on their laptops and simulate actual flight on Mars, but it doesn't run the actual flight software. And so you get these, discontinuities between what you can test in different environments. And beyond our simulation environments on Earth, we also have this great wealth of data from our previous flights on Mars. Ingenuity is a technology demonstration, so we had a full recording of all the sensor data we'd collect in our previous flights. And so we could take that data and replay it through all of our new algorithms, which is a great way to give us confidence that our new algorithms would behave the way that we hope that they would. But you notice that none of these give us that full end-to-end testing pipeline. And so the flight software team really had to focus on testing specific components instead and validating that the inputs to a component were good and the outputs of that particular subsystem were good as well. But we couldn't validate the whole end-to-end pipeline. And so that's when we get into the actual surface validation phase, we'll talk about, hey, we have this actual vehicle on Mars as well. And obviously we don't want to put the hardware at risk, but what kind of validation can we do safely there as well to really close that last little bit of the V&V pipeline that we couldn't close on Earth. So after we finished getting the upgrade binaries together, how did we actually install the upgrade on board Ingenuity? So the first challenge is actually getting your upgrade to Mars in the first place. We sliced up our upgrade binaries into dozens of different pieces, and we sent them up to all of our orbiter partners that work alongside the Mars 2020 Perseverance mission. We then forward linked them to the Perseverance rover, after which we play a game of telephone where we transfer them from the rover to our base station module on board the rover, to Ingenuity, and then we finally have the upgrades on board to kick off the upgrade process. Now, upgrading is one of the scariest things you can do on a vehicle on another planet, because if anything goes wrong, there is no tech support. You don't get to go up there and manually turn off and on the system again. So we stepped through it in a slow, methodical way. The first soul of our transition process, or Martian Day, is starting up the new version of the nav software. The nav software upgrade is probably the scariest part for all of us, because if anything goes wrong with that, you could potentially lose commandability of the vehicle, because that's our primary CNDH software that also controls, and it also controls the radio. Fortunately, you can load up multiple versions of the software on parallel on board the nav processor, and so we are able to command a single boot into the new version of the flight software with the software designed to immediately fail back into the old version of the flight software if anything went wrong, or at the end of a few minutes after we finished our checkout. So that allowed us on the first day to boot into the new version of the flight software, make sure it works, and then successfully verify that we can boot back into the old version of the flight software. After we looked at the data on the ground, made sure the new version of the software was healthy, we could then step forward and actually permanently swap the nav version of the software on board Ingenuity. After that, we patched our flight computers, and we were off to the races. So we had this new version of software on board Ingenuity, but we weren't totally confident because we weren't able to do the full end-to-end validation on the ground. Right? We were as confident as we could be on Earth, but there's always the question of what unknown unknowns could you not test on the ground. And so we took this slow baby step campaign to make sure that the vehicle behaved the way that we expected with the new version of the flight software. So our very first flight with the new flight software was a hover. And the reason for that is without being able to test the flight software from end to end on the ground, it is incredibly difficult to prove that the flight software behaves the way that you expect it to. We did performance validation of all the specific subsystems of the vehicle, but we had no ability to put them all together on the ground. So we did one flight where we hovered in place. That way, if anything went wrong, we could safely just land back exactly where we started. Fortunately, everything went well, and so we moved on to the next step of our checkout campaign, which is checking out our first new capability upgrade, landing hazard mitigation. To do that, we flew over an area of potentially hazardous terrain, and then we flew back and landed back where we knew, landed back at a safe landing spot. We then played that data that we collected over on the ground, made sure it ran the way we expected, and the next flight, we actually tested the new capability by flying out to that same hazardous area and making sure that our divert functionality took us where we would have expected to land. Then we used another flight to check out our digital elevation maps. This was well tested in simulation, and our pilots did dozens of Monte Carlo simulations on the ground to verify what they expected the performance to be of a flight up a hill and back down. And then we did that exact same flight on Mars. We flew up, we flew down, and we were able to verify that Ingenuity's behavior on the surface with the new digital elevation maps was within family of what our simulations predicted. And with that, we were able to fully validate the new version of flight software. And so to date, we've now done, I think, 9 flights with the new flight software, and it's behaved great. It's been a huge capability enhancement to the mission. We've been able to fly to landing sites we never would have approached before because we had, with enhanced navigation, we could hit smaller landing sites than we could hit previously. And with landing hazard mitigation, we could land on more hazardous landing sites than we could target in the past. This has been vital for our continued campaign, keeping up with Perseverance and exploring up Jezero Crater. With that, I want to give a shout out to Garrett Kubiak, who was our flight software lead for the flight and really led the way on this flight software upgrade, and also the rest of the Ingenuity R8.0 flight software development team.